So I begin 2024 uncertain this year. I'm not certain in who I am. I'm not certain who I am with the podcast, with the writing, which is very unusual for me. I tend to come out of the gate ready to go. Part of this is because I've had a medication change, and one of my meds just stopped working after a number of years. So I wanted to start this year in a little bit of a different way. I want to talk about faith, and I'm going to do 4 or 5 episodes on faith and their special edition. And if you are a non-believer or somebody that is going to get triggered by somebody talking about faith, this is probably not the podcast for you. I hope you do listen, because my credentials when it comes to faith is my mum says I was born on a Tuesday and I was in church on a Sunday, and I didn't miss a service for the first 15 years of my life. Every week in church, at least 2 to 3 times. I've been to seminary a couple of times, didn't make it through. Um, Always got caught on that thought that I didn't want to be the guy that tells people what they can and can't do. It seemed like too much of a big responsibility for me. To be that kind of person that seems to sit in judgment. But I want to talk today specifically about church. I've sat in services where people have said, "Oh, you wouldn't rather be anywhere else," or "Where else would you want to be on a Sunday morning?" And when I was young, that I could honestly say, "Yeah, no, I wouldn't rather be anywhere else," because church, it seemed different when I was young. Church seemed like a place where I had a family. If somebody didn't show up to church on a Sunday, they were noticed. So maybe they only came on one service on a Sunday. We always went to two, and then we always went to midweek church. And then if there was youth group on Saturday, we were always at that. And if there was an activity on Friday, we were at that. And if there was a camp, we were at that. And we got to know everybody personally and intimately. We would eat with them. We would have them at our house. We would spend time together. They were people that we considered family. But the fact is, the church has gone away from that. The church has gone away from this idea that we're a family to the place where it is transactional. You are worthy of salvation, but you are not worthy of fellowship with us because you don't meet a certain expectation. My break with the church took 20, 30 years. And I need to say, I'm not a non-church person. I'm not an unbeliever. And I'm just going to leave it at that, because I need this to be a little bit non-denominational. Church was family. People were missed. If somebody was not there one week, it was, "Oh, does anybody know where such and such is?" If somebody missed church 2 weeks in a row, there was a stampede to call, to find out, to make sure that everything was okay. I was in one particular church. It was 2 young pastors, and I remember one morning waking up because my feet were being tickled by the senior pastor of the church. Now, he wasn't like a super great mate of ours. He was just pastor in the church. And it wasn't just me in the room, and I was, I don't know, 15, maybe 16. My parents had let him in. The doors were open. There was a couple of people in there. It was just joking. It was innocent. It was fun. But he was waking me up because we were going out to work on the house of somebody who was infirm. We were going to go and do a garden cleanup, and I'd slept in, and they'd showed up to group together, and I was still asleep. So they just came in and woke me up, and this to me is what church was. Just family, friends, people that you show up, people that you miss, people that you want to be with. Nowadays, if you can't be available to set up the chairs, if you can't do the parking lot, if you can't do the overheads, if you can't be part of a team, then your contribution is not seen as being valid. Somebody said to me over Christmas, there's two types of people in church. There's the people that sit in the pews, and then there's the pastors. The pastors are the people that are involved. Not just the people with the titles at the head of the church, but the people that are there to serve. And I kind of agree with that. I like the sentiment. But what that does is that negates the opportunity for the person that just showing up is hard work. Maybe they have a mental illness. Maybe they have a learning disability. Maybe they have anxiety. And showing up to a place where there's a group of people is hard yards. It's not easy to do. The thing for me is that I've always been a Bible literalist. I've looked at it and I've said, okay, well, the Bible says it. I might not understand, like, parts of it where, like Genesis, first day, second day, third day. Is a day as 1,000 years? Is a day 1 year? Does the Big Bang fit in there? I don't understand that. I don't need to. But when it comes to the New Testament, I take it literally. And Jesus said, I give you a new commandment that you love one another as I have loved you, that you sacrifice what you want for what they need. Now, in this context, Jesus didn't want to die for our sins. It's not like he was looking forward to it. I mean, you don't sweat blood the night before an event if it's something that you're looking forward to. And there's another verse that I've always clung to as true Christianity is to take care of the widows and the orphans. Now, when you think about that in context, it's not nowadays talking about the widows and the orphans. It's talking about the disenfranchised. It's talking about the lost. It's talking about the lonely. It's talking about the people that are alone. And we've somehow forgotten that. And then once we find those people and we bring them into our circle, we say, oh, we want you to be part of our faith. We then make them sit through these inane rituals. And in this case, I'm talking to Pentecostals as well. Okay, now I've always been a Pentecostal since day dot. And I always kind of looked down on your traditional religions until recently. I love some of the deep honor and respect of the Catholic Church. Some of the rituals, like when at Christmas time when they carry a baby doll down the front, there's things that I just kind of go, that's not for me. But when you talk about your Pentecostal, your fundamental, your charismatic, your happy clappies, your Baptists, man, your church sucks. I mean, I don't mean to. No, I do mean. Like, here's you can name drop a Pentecostal church in any country in the world, and I'm going to tell you exactly what their Sunday is going to look like. 3 or 4 fast songs, maybe some notices after the fast songs. We're all happy, we're calming down. Then we'll have our worship time. That's usually 2, 3, maybe 4 songs, depending on how spiritual they are. Then we'll come out of that. Now, if you haven't had your announcements in the middle there, you're going to have them at the end. And then if you're going to then have your announcements, you might do communion there because, it's good to break up the announcements and communion. It's a bit hard to maintain spirituality between, and then you got to fit the offering in there somewhere. Now, it's usually best to do this at the worship time because people are excited. Hey, we're all happy to be in church. Let's do a communion. Then you're going to have a little bit of, okay, let's all settle down. Welcome to the stage. Some dude that's going to speak for at least 40 minutes. At least. In what arena in the world does anybody sit down for 40 minutes to listen to a dude speak? Maybe a university. Well, yeah, university. That's the one. School, maybe. But people don't like school. People don't like going to classes at university. So why do we inflict that on people? Then you might have an altar call and a last song, and then that's pretty much it. I forgot the meet and greet. About, probably after the 3 fast songs, turn around, say hello to somebody. You sit through that process over and over and over and over again, and it just loses its meaning. And I mean, don't even get me started on the music. I mean, seriously, I get that people like, Bethel and Hillsong and that, but I mean, it's all elevator music. There's no guts to it. And when they try to do guts to it, they create songs. It's like, you've ravaged my heart. I'm in a church and somebody's singing that. And I'm like, do you understand what ravaging somebody is? Could you pull out a thesaurus and find a little bit of a better word? Now, I'm not saying that people aren't sincere. And I mean, I've sat in a church service in the Cook Islands and the music is not my style, but it is beautiful and it is heartfelt and it is passionate. I'm not asking for heavy metal. I mean, I like it, but give me guts, give me heart, give me purpose, give me declaration. Not this, you're all good and I'm all good and we're all good and it's going to be good. I mean, please. And remember that, man, I can't sit and watch a person for half an hour, 40 minutes. And then feel guilty if I need to go outside or I need to, God forbid, it's somebody that's got anxiety and is going to knit while the sermon is on. There's got to be a better way to do church. Now, I get that is communal and it's tradition and it's all that sort of stuff. But when are we going to start thinking to ourselves that there has to be better ways to do church? I mean, I know that the goal is to have 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 people in your church, and that's success. How many disciples do you have? How many lives have you turned around? How many lives have you changed? How many people have you brought into a closer relationship with God? That's what church is supposed to be. Yeah, Jesus went to the temple. The Bible's clear about that. But where did he do fellowship? Where did he do his discipleship? It was over meals. It was sitting around outside. It was discussion. It was backwards and forwards. And of course, you can't do that in a sermon. But you got to ask yourself, that 40-minute sermon, does it need to be 40 minutes? Are you that an inspirational speaker that people will just listen to you for 40 minutes? And even if you are, could that message be told better in 20 minutes, 15 minutes? We do at the end of church that, please stick around for a cup of coffee. But it's like it's an add-on. It's like, if you want to hang around, we'll be at the back. Why is that not the most joyous part of the day of church? Why is that not the the time that everybody's looking forward to. We're going to fellowship together. We're going to talk to each other. We're going to find out what's going on with each other. We're going to find out what people's needs are. We're going to, I don't know. I'm not against church. I'm not against the way that you do church. And if that works for you, God bless you. That's terrific. But we're not going to bring in new people if we're making them fit this old mold, because it is tired and it's boring. I mean, please. If somebody asks you on Sunday morning, would you rather be anywhere else? Think about it honestly. Think about it deep in your heart. Would you rather be somewhere else? The beach, having dinner with friends. Maybe you want to be at a nightclub. Maybe sitting in a pub down the street. Maybe just at home watching television. No answers, lots of questions. My next one, I'm going to talk about, I'm going to call it forgiveness. And why, as Christians, we don't forgive anyone, ever. Alrighty.